Y'all, I just finished watching the Billy Carson crucifixion interview, basically the debate where he like dipped out early because he was getting chewed up and spit out. So I have a few points to say, and I also took some clips from it so we can definitely get all the way into it. First thing I wanted to say is, like, as I say, I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke, because I don't want to say like Billy is also fraudulent stuff, but at the same time, like, that was a really horrible interview, okay? Or debate. And he got mad. Like, it seemed like he started to like try to offend the guy because he was losing. And I don't know how hot it was in that studio, but he was sweating like a stripper in church, you know? And one thing I will say is, so I did a review for Billy's remote viewing class last year. And after I did it, I was like really into like just like learning a little bit more about that. And I came across the institute where he got his class from. And when I say where he got his class from, I mean screen recorded and uploaded as if it was his class. And so I'm not saying that he didn't get their permission, because maybe they worked together so that he could use their entire class and say that it was his class. And so perhaps he had a licensing deal with them. I don't know. But I did think that that was strange after I found it, because I thought, you know, he was more involved with the creation of the class than what was reality. So with that being said, let's watch the first clip and then you make your own decision. And then, you know, we'll get into some commentary.
The only hesitation I have with what you said, Billy, is that we have single copies of the Gospels that can be dated to the 2nd century that all do have the crucifixion. And so if we're relying on something like the Gospel of Barnabas, which is not just like, it's not that there's debate about it, it's that it's a known forgery. I mean, no one's referring to the Gospel of Barnabas as anything other than...
If you say it's a known forgery and expert, I'm going to go with that.
All right, so before I even like really get into what I'm gonna say, I have a few more clips that I think, like, when I saw this one, I was like, "Ooh, it's getting hot in the kitchen," you know, like, you know, Billy's getting upset. And typically when people get upset about things, and I'm not saying this is him, but typically when people start getting upset, it's because they feel like they're being exposed. And when they start getting a little bit more personal and, you know, body shifting and sweating and stuff, it's because they might be getting caught up. Now, that West guy first of all, he did not come to play. He looks like he's ready for war. And I guess Billy did not do his research before coming on to this podcast. So it seemed like he didn't know what to expect. And like, he was getting like uppercutted and, you know, crossed up and jabs. He was taking all types of stuff, and he won't even eating it. He was just like taking it. It was definitely not good. Because instead of debating it, he will just be like, "Oh, well, if that's what you say, you know," and you can't say that on a debate. You knew what you were signing up for. Show up or shut up, you know. And I like Billy. I don't know him as a person. I don't know him from a can of paint, but I do think that he has a lot of valid resources and things out there. But like, if you using all these big words and you coming up and doing all this stuff, you should be prepared for your debate when you coming up with somebody like this guy. You know, this guy is coming up with papyrus and a thing that he hand cut out in a little picture frame and all this type of stuff. Like, he didn't come to play. And I guess Billy underestimated him. And I don't want to base my entire opinion off of one interview, but this is pretty telling. And it's kind of like it, based on all the things that are happening with this year, and we're going into 2025, it just points to the question of, you know, has Billy just been playing games? Because I have seen multiple videos across the internet over the years saying that he was a scammer. And I do know that the conscious community is a community that gets scammed all the time. I'm not saying he a gold digger, but he ain't messing with no broke. So I'm not saying, I don't know, because I don't know him, and he does have a lot of great things to offer. But just because you repackage something that you heard and you say that you discovered it doesn't necessarily mean that you discovered it, But just because he had this poor interview where he left early because he was getting chewed up and spit out, talking about something he has to go and he has a meeting to go to, yeah. So watch the next clips, and then we'll come back and we can fully break it all the way down.
But that the image of God reflects both the masculine and the feminine, and that's why when the two become one flesh, there's a uniting of that reflects the image of God as well within the covenant of marriage.
Do you actually believe that the majority of Christians really believe that God is not masculine, that God is has both aspects?
I mean, it's irrelevant what the majority of Christians believe.
How many would tell you, that God's not a man? They've never been taught this.
Well, I was taught it growing up. I was taught it in when I was a child, when I went to seminary, when I went to Bible college. I was taught it in graduate school. I would say I would say a few things to that. I would say, in one sense, it's irrelevant what the majority of Christians believe, because what historical biblical Christianity articulates is what they should believe.
I told y'all. And if you watch the end, because I didn't clip that part, but the other guy, Wes, I keep wanting to call him Chris. The other guy, Wes, his computer started glitching, and that's when Billy decided to put his information in. And then right when what is that guy's name? Right when Wes came back on the screen, all of a sudden Billy didn't want to talk no more. And he was like, actually, I got to go to a meeting. But you knew if you really had a meeting, you knew you had a meeting already. Then he put his glasses on and he patted the guy, took the headphones off and dipped. First of all, I think he should have just took it on the chest and been like, look, I got my sources confused. It was a long day and I took a L. You can't win them all, You can't win them all. But what did he do instead? He's trying to now sue the guy. And allegedly, he showed up at one of the guy's houses at 3:00 in the morning on some weirdo stuff. So it's not looking good for our cousin Billy right now. And then I seen people trying to turn this into a race thing. This is not about race, okay? That is such a card that people pull just for the heck of it. This is not a race thing, okay? This is, you were not prepared for it, and you didn't know that this little dude was finna come up and give you what you didn't ask for. You didn't know what you signed up for. And just say that. Just say you weren't prepared. Just say you didn't expect him to bring that heat. And then go back again with your sources in order. Get it ready. This is what I would say I would think would be a respectable next thing to regain some level of credibility. Be like, look, I wasn't ready for you. He schooled me, okay? But it's because I wasn't prepared. I didn't know who I was going up against, but I'm ready this time. I got my books together. I got my sources, and now let's meet up again. And now I'm finna show you who the big dog is. Not let me try to silence you, because now you're trying to silence him. Now it looks fraudulent. Now you look weird. Now it looks like, because, you know what? Let me be quiet. The point is, though, the way he's moving now makes him look like perhaps he is a fraud. I'm not saying he is, okay, because I don't know. But if he's not a fraud, why doesn't he just debate him again? Why are you trying to silence him? And this is so off topic, but the guy that was in the middle, whoever he is, and I say this with all due respect, he was getting on my nerves. Every time he started talking, I just was trying to fast forward, because you know what? I didn't come here to see him, okay? I came here to see Billy versus Wes. That's what I came here to say. I don't know who this guy is in the middle, and he was talking slow, and I'm like, look, dude, come on, be quiet. And he kept interrupting them, and I'm like, yo, do you not hear, aren't you the moderator? Why are you talking so much? Granted, he might not have been the moderator. Maybe I'm confused, but I thought he was the moderator. And as someone who does interviews with people when I feel like it and does do that kind of stuff, I know they're supposed to let people talk. You don't bring someone on your platform to talk. You bring them on your platform to listen and add value. And that's it. You don't bring someone on your platform to share your thoughts and opinions on everything. You say a little bit and you let the guest speak. So I didn't understand why he was yapping so much. And I didn't want to hear from him. I wanted to hear from the two potential titans and see what was going on in the ring. And every time he kept talking, I was like, bro, shut up. Please, I don't want to hear from you. In the nicest, most respectful way possible, because he seemed like a good dude and he was making some valid points. It just wasn't the time or the place. And like I said, if he wasn't the moderator, then I take it all back. But if he was the moderator, like, why was he speaking for 5 minutes straight? Like, I don't want to hear from you. Say your point and let them get back to talking, especially because he kept interrupting them. And sometimes he would interject in a spot where it was important for the next person to speak. Like, as a moderator, you're supposed to know when it's appropriate to interject and say your piece and not be so pressed to say what you have to say when your guests are talking. You have your platform so that you can do that. When you want to yap and ramble and share your thoughts, that's when you do that, when you're just doing it by yourself. But when you have a guest and you have guests and it's a debate for the guest, you let the guests debate. It is not your time to shine. It's their time to talk, and it's your time to listen and ask clarifying questions. Because honestly, there were so many additional questions that he could have added to add value to the conversation. But to me, it just felt like he was taken away from it and just trying to share what he thought. And it's like, aren't you the moderator? So I just kept like skipping forward because I just didn't want to hear what he had to say. And that might be harsh. And I think he had good points, but like, come on, dude, be the moderator and not the guest. If he was not the moderator, then I take it back. But I still was irritated because he was talking too slow for me. But one thing about it, two things for sure. I never seen Billy get up so fast and like, boom, he's like, I gotta take a meeting, bye. And he's like, and I'm gonna drop the mic on that. Boy, you ain't dropped nothing but your credibility. You ain't dropped no mic. You drop your level of credibility, especially because like for real, people understand like that might have just been a bad day. He might have been going through stuff. I heard he was sick recently. Like we can all look past that. But the way he's moving now is weird. People are trying to say, oh, this is about color. This is not about color. You just got played. You got dogged out. And instead of, bossing up about it and taking it on the chest, you're acting like a sore loser. And that's weird to me. That's weird behavior. And that makes me think perhaps you're trying to hide something. Because if he would just say, you know what? I took a L. Y'all saw me out there. I was looking crazy. But I'm going to get my stuff together and I'm going to come back. Because someone like me, I'm not good at referring to texts. But I also don't go around talking about how much I know from various texts either. But if I was in that situation and I wasn't prepared and he was asking me, okay, well, what example exactly do you have in page what of the enumerate? He was like the Elish. I was like, no, he didn't try to shade Billy for not knowing how to pronounce it or for pronouncing it differently. But because I thought it was the Elish too. So I don't know, but whatever. So I wouldn't be able to say, oh, it's on page 74, line 6, right after the in front and right by the period. That's the sentence I'm talking about. I wouldn't be able to do that. But I also don't claim to be someone who does that. But I can see how in that situation, perhaps he was ill prepared to, go to intelligence war with this guy. At the same time, though, if you claim to be something and then you get shown up and then instead of coming back stronger, you try to hide and run and go invisible, that's when it becomes a little bit of a red flag. So y'all should go watch the whole interview. It's on the guy, I keep wanting to call him Chris Huff. I don't know why I'm calling this guy that, but Wes Huff. You can go to his page and you can watch the whole interview. Because, the ghetto, the absolute ghetto. I don't know what Billy's going to do after this. But the good thing is that the crowd, the media, everybody has a short attention span. So this is likely really not going to even do anything long term. But we may be in a different time period. I don't know, honestly. But what I do know is it's a whole lot going on. And we ain't even in 2025 yet. So, the ghetto. Oh, and apparently this interview happened a minute ago. I'm thinking that this is a brand new conversation. No, this interview happened at least a month ago, and Billy has been trying everything to get it not to be released. But this guy, Wes, ain't nothing to play with because he still put it out there. So one thing about it, and two things for sure. Don't judge a book by its cover. And also these people that Wes has significantly less followers and subscribers on YouTube than Billy, and less notoriety within, the stratosphere. But these bigwigs are getting so comfortable and they're underestimating us little folks. So all I know is he won't do that again. And all Billy needs to do is own up to the fact that he looked like a darn fool, do better next time, and go back and debate Wes again. That's the only way that will save his credibility and respect as a, supposed leader in the community, because now he's looking like a fraud. I'm not saying he is, but he sure does look like one.